Abhay Charanarvinda, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parijakacharya Ashtotra Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 16, verse number 24. Tattena bhishtam iva sattva nidher vidhitso. Tattena bhishtam iva sattva nidher vidhitso. Kshemam janaya nija shakti birudhritare. Kshemam janaya nija shakti birudhritare. Naitavatratri adhipater bata vishvabhartus. Naitavatratri adhipater bhata vishvabhartus. Tejakshatam tva avanatasya sate vinodaha. Tejakshatam tva avanatasya sate vinodaha. Prabhuji's. Tattena bhishtam iva sattva nidher viditso. Kshemam janaya nija shakti birudhritare. Naitavatratri adhipater bata vishvabhartus. Tejakshatam tva avanatasya sate vinodaha. Tattena bhishtam iva sattva nidher viditso. Kshemam janaya nija shakti birudritare. Naitavatratri adipater bata vishvabartus. Tejakshatam tva avanatasya sate vinodaha. Tattena bhishtam iva sattva niderviditso. Kshemam janaya nija shakti birudritare. Naitavatratri adipater bata vishvabhartus. Tejakshatam tva avanatasya sate vinodaha. Try. Okay. Let us look at the word-to-word meaning. Tat, that destruction of the path of auspiciousness. Te, by you. Anabhishtam is not liked. Eva, as. Sattvanidhe, the reservoir of all goodness. Vidhitso, desiring to do. Kshemam, good. Janaya, for the people in general. Nija Shakti Bihi, by your own potencies. Udhrita, destroyed. Are, the opposite element. Na, not. Etavata, by this. Tri adipate, of the proprietor of the three kinds of creations. Bata, O Lord. Vishvabhartu, the maintainer of the universe. Teja, potency. Kshatam, reduced. Tu, but. Avanatasya, submissive. Saha, that. Te, your. Vinodaha, pleasure. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Dear Lord, you never want the auspicious path to be destroyed, for you are the reservoir of all goodness. Just to benefit people in general, you destroy the evil element by your mighty potency. You are the proprietor of the three creations and the maintainer of the entire universe. Therefore, your potency is not reduced by your submissive behavior. Rather, by submission, you exhibit your transcendental pastimes. Purport. Lord Krishna was never reduced in his position by becoming a cowherd boy or by offering respect to Sudama Brahmana or his other devotees like Nanda Maharaja, Vasudeva, Maharaja Yudhishthira, and the Pandavas' mother Kunti. Everyone knew that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yet, his behavior was exemplary. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. His form is completely spiritual, full of bliss and knowledge, and it is eternal. Because the living entities are his parts and parcels, originally they also belong to the same quality of eternal form as the Lord. But when they come in contact with Maya, the material potency, due to their forgetfulness, their existential constitution is covered. We should try to understand the appearance of Lord Krishna in this spirit as the Kumaras pray to him. He is eternally a cowherd boy at Vrindavana. He is eternally the leader of the battle of Kurukshetra. And he is eternally the opulent prince of Dwaraka and the lover of the damsels of Vrindavana. All his appearances are meaningful because they show his real characteristics to the conditioned souls who have forgotten their relationship with the Supreme Lord. He does everything for their benefit. The force exhibited in the battle of Kurukshetra by the desire of Krishna and through the agency of Arjuna was also necessary because when people become too irreligious, force is required. Non-violence in this respect is rascaldom. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Let us do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhuter Mahadbiya Ima Puro Vibhu Nirmaya Shete Yadamoshu Purusha Bhunkter Gunamsho Dasashodasatmaka Solang Krishishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanagatam Kathamritam Satatapi Bhatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panktanam Sarvalokarishi Deva Janna Prasannam Sarvalokarishi Deva Janna Prasannam. Hare Krishna again, everyone. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam. So, we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 16, verse number 24. So it is said that at the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam class, we recite the prayers, Nashta Prayeshva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. That is, by regularly attending Srimad Bhagavatam classes and by submissively hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens? All that is troublesome to our heart is destroyed. And loving devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is established. That is, we can invoke the pure love that is there in our heart for Sri Krishna. So with this understanding, let us today try to hear and speak from Srimad Bhagavatam, so that slowly we can rekindle that, all the love that we have in our heart, we can give it to Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. So we are in this chapter where the four Kumaras have just arrived at the gate of Vaikuntha. Not turn, if it's okay. So the four Kumaras are at the gate of Vaikuntha, and not being allowed inside, what happened? They are cursing the doorkeepers, Jai and Vijay, because they were not allowed inside. And at this time, what happens? The beautiful Lord Vishnu, he arrives there and he takes charge of the situation. So now he is trying to pacify everyone. So Lord Vishnu is speaking very beautifully to the four Kumaras. He is trying to satisfy them. He is trying to please them. And he is trying to glorify them. And he is extolling the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. And he's saying that how great the Brahmanas are, and they are such pure souls, and that offending them is not the right thing to do. So as the Lord is speaking like this, such sweet words, what's happening? It is like a series of Vedic hymns for the ears of the Kumaras. So it is not like, just some mundane talk, blah, blah, blah. But the sweet words of Lord Vishnu is like a Vedic chant for the ears. And the Lord's profound speech with such high philosophy and with such deep meaning and, such wonderful thoughts that he shared through his beautiful words, it was a little bit difficult for the Kumaras to comprehend. But nevertheless, with wide open ears, they were trying to hear from the Lord. So that is what even we do. When we hear from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, sometimes we may not understand straight away what is being said. But by constantly hearing and being eager to hear, then slowly Lord Krishna gives us the understanding. So, but nevertheless, the Kumaras were just delighted to behold the presence of Lord Vishnu in front of them. So they were just admiring him. They were just admiring his beauty. And then the four Kumaras, they begin to speak. So firstly, they are saying, "Oh Lord, you're speaking in favor of us." Like though they have actually offended the doorkeepers, Jai and Vijay, now the Lord is speaking in favor of the four Kumaras. So they're saying, what is this? We thought we've made a mistake, but you're speaking in favor of us. And then the fact that you're considering the Brahmanas to be in such a high position is your way of teaching everyone. It is your way of setting an example for everyone. And then they are saying, "O Lord, you manifest in the 3 millenniums. And so the Lord is also addressed as Tri Yuga, the Lord who appears in the three yugas. That is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and then in Kali Yuga he is like a hidden avatar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he is the Triadisha, he is the Lord of the threes. So there are so many different threes that we can see in our scriptures. The three Gunavatars of the Lord, then the three worlds, Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, then the three dhams, Dwaraka, Mathura and Vrindavan Dham, and then the three modes of nature, that is ignorance, passion and goodness. So like this, the Lord is addressed as the Lord of the threes. And then the Kumaras are saying, Goddess Lakshmi is so eager to serve at your lotus feet. And what is the lotus feet of the Lord? It is the abode for the king of bees. The bees are just hovering over the tulsi leaves that are offered at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. And Goddess Lakshmi is so eager to serve the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, of Lord Vishnu. And yet, even though there are thousands of Lakshmis, Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasambrama Sevya Manam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, we hear in Brahma Samhita. So even though there are so many Lakshmis eager to serve the Supreme Lord, the Lord is not really attached to them. He accepts their loving service and he also reciprocates with them through wonderful loving pastimes with Goddess Lakshmi. But still, he is not attached. Why? Because of his Aishwarya, because of his opulence of renunciation. So it is said that the Lord has 6 types of opulences. Yeah? That is wealth, fame, strength, beauty, renunciation, and knowledge. So with all these 6 opulences, the Lord is called as Bhagavan. And so he is not really attached to anything. And then the Kumaras are saying, O Lord, you are the protector of the Brahmanas, and by your sweet words, you are showing us the path of auspiciousness, of how to worship, of how to serve devotees. And if you didn't show us this path, then it would be lost. So they're saying that the Lord is setting an example for us. And then that brings us to today's verse, where they are saying, Tattena bishtam iva sattva nidher viditso kshemam janaya nija shakti birudhritare naitavathatri adipater bata vishwabhartus tejakshatam tva avanatasya sate vinodaha. So the Kumaras are saying, Dear Lord, you never want this auspicious path. So what is the auspicious path they're talking about? The path of worshipping the Supreme Lord, the path of serving devotees, the path of serving Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So you don't want all this to be lost, O Supreme Lord. Why? Because you are the reservoir of all goodness. That is, you are Sattva Nidhe. So the four Kumaras are addressing the Lord with some very beautiful attributes that are given to the Lord. So they are qualifying him. They are saying, you are Sattva Nidhe. You are so full of goodness, and therefore you don't want this auspicious path to be destroyed. And also with your mighty potency, that is Nija Shakti Bihi, with all your different strengths and potencies, you are driving away the evil. Why? Just to benefit everyone, for the good of everyone. And you are Trai Adipate, that is the proprietor of the three kinds of creations. So you are the Lord of Trailokya. And then you are Vishwa Bhartu, that is, you are the maintainer of the whole universe. And such being your supremacy, still you take such a humble position and you are serving your devotees. And by your submissive behavior, your strength or your potency is not lost. So that is what the Kumaras are saying. Your Tejas. Tejas means your strength, your potency, your brilliance, your shining luster, and your all your different energies, your potencies, it is not lost. It does not diminish just because you take a submissive position. So today we'll try to reflect on these supreme qualities of the Lord, of how such a supreme person he is. So Srila Prabhupada addresses Sri Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. He doesn't say just Lord. He says supreme personality of Godhead. So that being the position of Lord Krishna, of the Supreme Lord, how he takes a humble position just to give pleasure to his devotees and for his own pleasure. That is Vinodaha, it is said in this verse. So just for his pastimes, for his, just to have fun, for his cheerful time, he is taking a humble position. So the Lord here is addressed as Vishwa Bhartu, that is the maintainer of the whole universe. Now we see in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Ghatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit Prabhava Pralayastanam Nidanam Bijam Avyayam. So the Lord says that he is our Gati, means our goal. He is our Bharta, means the sustainer. So the Supreme Lord is our maintainer. He is maintaining the whole universe. And he is the Sakshi, the witness, Nivasaha, he is our abode. Sharanam, he is our refuge. Suhrit, he is our most intimate friend. So Shri Radha Gopinath is our dearest friend. Prabhava, he is the creation. Pralaya, dissolution. Sthanam, he is the ground. Nidanam, the resting place. And he is the Bijam Avyayam, that is the eternal seed, the origin of everything. He is Sarva Karana Karanam. So we see that the Lord maintains the whole universe through his three Vishnu forms. Karanodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the Vishnu who enters each universe, and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu who resides in our heart. Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. Yeah? Mata Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So the Lord residing in the heart of every living entity, whether it is the ant or the elephant or the tiger or the plants or the humans. So the Lord residing within the heart of everyone, he is looking after us. And he is the master of our senses. He is Rishikesh. Rishikesh is the name of Lord Vishnu, of Lord Krishna, which means he is the master of our senses. So also through the other expansions of Lord Vishnu, that is Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha, the Lord is controlling our mind. He is looking after all our thoughts and our feelings. So that way he is maintaining us. And the Lord provides everything for us to be sustained in this world. Whether it is food or whether it is air, whether it is water, everything the Lord provides. So we see that, Lord Shiva, he prays in the Rudra Geet, in his conversation with the Prachetas, the sons of King Prachina Barhi. Lord Shiva says, Sarva Sattvatma Dehaya Visheshaya Staviyase Namastrailokya Palaya Saha Ojo Balaya Cha. So Lord Shiva says that you are the gigantic universal form which contains all the individual bodies of the living entities. So all of us, we are a part and parcel of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. And you are the maintainer of the three worlds, and as such you maintain the mind, senses, body, and the air of life within them. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So in the purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada says how just as an individual body, now if we look at our human body, it is made of so many cells. It is made of thousands and thousands of minute particles called as cells. And within each cell, if we go, now the cell, it has a cell membrane. Then there is cytoplasm inside it. Then there is the nucleus. And then there is the mitochondria. Then there is the DNA. There is the RNA. Like that, if we go into that tiny cell, there is so much still packed inside. And it is said that it takes a sheet of 10,000 cells to cover the head of a pin. So that's how tiny is a cell. And our human body is made of so many cells. Now imagine if each cell thought to itself, how am I going to look after myself? I need food, I need this, I need that. Now does a cell have to really think so much? Now as a person, when the human or with our soul within, when we eat food, we use our hands, we eat, and then we breathe. Now what happens naturally? The whole body is nourished. Now each cell doesn't have to think separately, isn't it? So naturally it is looked after. Like that, when all of us who are parts and parcels of Sri Krishna, when we serve him, what happens? When Krishna is nourished, when Krishna is taken care of, then automatically all of us are also nourished and maintained and taken care of. All that is needed is our surrender to Sri Krishna, to say that you are maintaining me. I don't have to worry about anything. Sri Krishna, you look after me. And we don't even have to say that. So Krishna already knows that, and then he gives us his love and compassion. So we can see that how, he is Trai Adipater. So he is the Lord of the three creations. Now if we want to look at more details of what is the three creations, we can go into Canto 5, and then there is so much of explanation given about the Lord's creation. So we can go there and explore and see all the different details of the creation of the Lord. And so the Lord is Trai Adipater. He is the proprietor of the entire creation. So such being the supremacy of the Lord, who is Trai Adipate, who is Vishwabhartu, who is Rishikesha. Now such a supreme Lord, such a supreme person, he becomes controlled by the love of his devotees, and he takes a submissive position. And the Kumaras here are saying that even though you take such a position, your tejas, your potency is not diminished at any cause. So we will look at some beautiful examples where the Lord is beautifully taking a humble position and serving different devotees. So we know in the Damodar Leela, where Mother Yashoda wanted to bind Krishna with a rope, just because he ate all the butter that Mother Yashoda was churning and she had kept it. And then when she went to attend to the stove, Lord Krishna came running and he broke the pot and ate all the butter and gave it to all the monkeys. And then what happened? Mother Yashoda, with a stick in her hand, she was running, trying to catch Krishna. And then she was trying to tie him up with a rope. And she couldn't. But then with all her endeavor, and then seeing that, with Krishna's compassion, she was able to bind him. And here, Shukdev Goswami says, Evam sandarshita hyanga harina bhritya vashyata svavashenapi krishnena yasyedam sheshwaram vashe. That is, O Maharaj Parikshit, the entire universe with its great exalted demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma and Lord Indra, they are all under the control of the Supreme Lord. Yet, he has one attribute. And what is that? He comes under the control of his devotees. And this was exhibited in this pastime. So we see some beautiful childhood pastimes of Sri Krishna, where, the gopis, they're all just encouraging Krishna. When Krishna is a little child, he's just a, tiny boy. And at that time, Mother Yashoda and the gopis, they would all ask Krishna to dance. They would say, come on, dance now. And then they would clap their hands and they would encourage him. And just by doing that, what would Krishna do? Just like a little wooden doll, he would dance. He would, respond to whatever they are asking him to do. Now, have we seen those little toys that will have a key? And then if you put the key, then it will start dancing. Tick, 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 like that. Like that, the Supreme Lord Krishna, he as the darling of Vrindavan, he was dancing to the tunes of all the gopis and his friends. And just like a human child. And why did he do all this? For his own pleasure and to give pleasure to the Brajavasis, to everyone. So then they would say, Bhibharti kvachid agnyaptha pita konmana padukam bahukshepam cha kurute swanam cha pritim avahan. So sometimes Mother Yashoda and the elderly gopis, they would tell Krishna, oh Krishna, bring this wooden plank, bring the wooden shoes, bring this wooden measuring pot, something, different articles in the house. They will just ask Krishna to bring it. And then what would Krishna do? He would run and go and he will try to lift them. And then, not being able to lift them because they're so heavy, he will just stand there, just touching them like that, as if he cannot lift it. He is the Supreme Lord. Does it take any effort for him to just lift a little wooden plank? But sometimes he will just stand like that, as if he can't lift it. And just by seeing that, the Mother Yashoda and gopis, they would feel such happiness just to see little Krishna doing all these pastimes in front of them. And then he would slap his arms to show as if he's a very strong boy. Even in the Kaliya pastime, when we see, before Krishna jumps into the Yamuna river, what does he do? He will slap his arms like that, and then he will tie his waist belt, and he will show like he's a nice, big, strong boy, and then he will jump into the Yamuna. So all this he's doing just to increase the pleasure of his devotees, of whoever is engaged in his pastimes. And then we see how Lord Krishna, how he served different devotees, how he served different brahmanas by taking such a humble position. So when we see that when Akrura, that is Krishna Balram's uncle, when he came to Vrindavan to take Krishna Balram for the wrestling match back to Mathura. So when he came to Vrindavan, what happened? Now Akrura, as soon as he arrived, and when he just touched the land of Vrindavan, he immediately fell down and he just rolled on the ground because he wanted that soil to touch his body. And then with so much affection for Krishna and Balram, he just jumped out of the chariot. And then what did Krishna do? He went and he held his hand and he embraced him. And then Krishna Balram took Akrura home, and then they served him so nicely. They massaged his feet, they offered him milk and honey, and they asked him, was your trip okay? Was everything fine? Then they gave him such nice delicacies, nice food, everything, lunch. And then they even offered him aromatic herbs to, mouth sweeteners and all that. And they massaged his feet and looked after him so well. And only then Nanda Maharaj came, and then he asked him, please tell us, what is your visit here? Is everything okay? So like that, Lord Krishna, he takes that humble position in front of his superiors, because Akrura was his uncle. So he offered that respect to him. And then we see when Rukmini Devi, when she sent her sweet love letter for Sri Krishna. So she sent it through a Brahmana. And now when this Brahmana, when he visited Lord Krishna, now what did Lord Krishna do? He is the all-knowing Lord. So he obviously knows why the Brahmana has come. He has brought her a message of love from his dearmost Rukmini Devi. Now, did Krishna immediately just jump up and say, oh, you've just come here, what have you brought for me from Rukmini? Is that what he did? No. Firstly, he took the Brahmana home, he made him rest. He massaged his feet and he spoke to him. He washed his feet with water. And then he spoke to him with such sweet words. First, he spoke to the Brahmana, saying is everything okay with you? Is your king looking after you nicely? Would we think of all this? So these are things that we can reflect on. Whenever we speak to someone, we ask them, are you okay? Is everything fine? How is your bhakti going? How is your chanting going? How is your sadhana? How are your services? That is what we should ask each other. So Lord Krishna is setting an example for us. And then he's saying that, only when the Brahmanas are looked after well and when they are happy and satisfied, then everything in the society will also be good. Everything will run well. And also, an unsatisfied Brahmana will go from one planet to the other. So the Lord is saying how it is important to keep the Brahmanas well served and keep them satisfied. And also for them to have their mind satisfied by serving Sri Krishna. So in relation to this, we can see a beautiful example of King Gaya. That day in the Chaitanya Charitamrita series, the lecture series, Prabhuji was sharing, Bhave Bhushan Prabhuji, he was sharing about King Gaya, who looked after his subjects so well. So there is Palana, Poshana, Prinana, Upalalana and Anushasana. So Palana is giving protection to everyone. Poshana is nourishing them, giving them gifts, taking care of them, giving them good food, looking after them, making sure they're all okay. And then Prinana is to make them happy, to have a nice sweet speech, speak kindly to everyone, offer sweet words of praise to whoever we see. And then Upalalana is treating them as their own sons. So a leader treats whoever is under them as their own sons or daughters or children. And that is how Srila Prabhupada looked after all his disciples, as his own sons and daughters. Like that. That is Upalalana. And then Anushasana is sometimes we have to correct people if they make any mistakes. So, by very mildly chastising them, but with, again, sweet words, so that they can make a correction. So, like that, from these examples, we can see how Lord Krishna is teaching us the right way of living our life. So, it's not like just random things just happen. So how can we channelize our mind? How do we discipline ourselves in our life? And then we see the example of Sudama Brahmana. So when Sudama, Lord Krishna's dear friend, when he came to visit Sri Krishna, then again Lord Krishna looked after him so well. He was sitting on the bed with Rukmini, and immediately Lord Krishna, he jumped down and he came to invite Sudama home. And then again he washed his feet, he massaged his feet, he made him sit on his own bed, and he looked after him. And then they had such a lovely conversation with each other. And then he gave him nice food, and then he made him rest well. Like that, he served him so nicely with a lot of love from his heart. And even Rukmini Devi was there. She took the chamara and she was fanning for Sudama. So like that, Lord Krishna is teaching us how by taking a submissive position, one's glory actually increases. When one becomes submissive, then it doesn't mean that one's power is reduced. So that is what we are seeing in today's verse. That is Teja Avanatasya. That is, the Lord's strength or potency was not reduced just because he took a humble position of extolling the Kumaras. So, given that this whole chapter and all these verses are about such, they are actually themed on the sweet relationship between the Lord and his devotees. So, in line with that, I thought today we will end our class with a beautiful meditation, with a beautiful song, which gives us a way to meditate on Lord Shri Krishna, on the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. And it speaks about the beautiful relationship between the Lord and his devotee. So, Manasa Sancharare, that is, oh my mind, please go towards the Supreme Brahman, who is Shri Krishna. Manasa, mind, Sancharare, wander, go towards the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. And who is that? Mahaniya Kapola Vijita Mukure. His beautiful cheeks they outwit even a shining mirror. So when we look at Radha Gopinath's cheeks, we can see, like his chubby cheeks, they are always shining. So next time when we take darshan of Sri Radha Gopinath, we can meditate on these beautiful features. And Madhashiki Pincha Alankrita Chikure. So on his curly locks of hair, he's wearing a beautiful peacock feather. Sevaka Jana Mandira Mandhare. So where does the Lord reside? In the hearts of his devotees, in the temple of the heart of his devotees. Sevaka Jana, all those who are serving him in their hearts. Shri Ramani Kucha Durga Vihare. He has beautiful, intimate, loving pastimes with Srimati Radharani, and with who is none other than the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. So he's having these beautiful pastimes. And Paramahamsa Mukha Chandra Chakore. So just like the chakora bird that is constantly looking at the moon, like that, Lord Krishna is attracted to his pure devotees, and the pure devotees are attracted to Shri Krishna. So it is such a beautiful relationship between them. Paripurita Murali Rava Dhare. That is, all their desires, whatever they want, their heart is fulfilled simply by hearing the music from the flute of Shri Krishna. So we will try to meditate on this beautiful verse. Manasa Sancharare Brahmani Manasa Sancharare Madhashiki Pincha Alankrita Chikure. Madhashiki Pincha Alankrita Chikure. Mahaniya Kapola Vijita Mukure. Mahaniya Kapola Vijita Mukure. Manasa Sancharare Sancharare. Shri Ramani Kucha